The Luke Fickell era hasn't gone as expected, and that's rather sad because I'm a Luke Fickell believer. I liked the hire, loved it when Wisconsin made it, and I still like aspects of it. The question with Wisconsin and with Fickell now is, what are the expectations with this schedule? That's the biggest question, because if the expectations are just go bowling, we understand the schedule is tough, then I think he and Wisconsin are going to be hand in hand in the long run, like Rule in Nebraska. If, however, they expect him to win 8 games or 9 games, then he might be toast because this schedule is that tough. Wisconsin went 5-7, 3-6 last season with a tough schedule. They hosted Oregon, hosted Penn State, hosted Alabama. They'd have to play some of those teams on the road. And they were 12th in the Big Ten, showed a lot of fight in the first 10 games. I think in the final 2 games they quit a little bit. And voila, you get 5-7 and Wisconsin's first losing season in more than a decade. It was, in truth, a disaster. It was a disaster by Wisconsin standards. They're plus 3,500 to reach the playoffs and plus 16,000 to win the Big Ten with an over-under win total of 5.5. If that gives you perspective of how Wisconsin's doing, which is not good. Wisconsin's not doing all that good. They're not doing so hot. I like this roster. I think this roster sets up Fickell for as much of a rebound or progression that Nebraska's does with Rule. Except Nebraska's schedule, in theory, lines up with their roster. Wisconsin's does not one bit. They have the toughest Big Ten conference schedule in the Big Ten, only looking at conference games. And if you factor in that game against Alabama, it's by a mile the toughest Big Ten schedule. Even FPI, which uses ESPN recruiting rankings, I think is biased towards the SEC in the preseason, less so as the season goes on, and in-game results matter much more. The Badgers are the only Big Ten team with a schedule on par with the SEC's per FPI. Before we resume this segment, please take a few seconds of your time to make sure you have liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and for any team podcasts and playlists linked in the description, and also comment your thoughts down below in the comment section and join my Discord server via the description. All of those things I just asked you to do are completely free, and they sign you up for things related to my channel, or they don't sign you up for anything. No cost to you, and all the benefit to you because we release daily college football content here on College Football with Sam. If you want to support the channel monetarily, sign up for a YouTube membership, or check any other links in the description for my merchandise store and Patreon page. Thank you very much, and let's get back to the segment. And since FPI is probably underrating Wisconsin's schedule, you get the point. This could be the toughest schedule in America, not just the toughest in the Big Ten or the toughest when you only look at Big Ten conference games. Let's burn through this schedule before we get to some players I love and some players or positions I have questions with the Badgers. So week 1, they play Miami of Ohio. Week 2, they play Middle Tennessee. Week 3, they travel to Alabama. And week 4, well, they host Maryland. You should go 3-1. 3-1. If you somehow upset Alabama, which is very, very unlikely, but I think a little possible, given how Alabama functioned last year, then that game is kind of just gravy. Just go 3-1, look good against the G5 and against Maryland, who should not be anywhere close to you at this point. After the week 5 bye, Wisconsin travels to Michigan week 6, hosts Iowa week 7, hosts Ohio State week 8, travels to Oregon week 9. That is their October slate. That is insane. Michigan and Oregon on the road, who would S&P Plus or preseason top 10. Ohio State at home, who's number 1 in S&P Plus, and Iowa is preseason top 30, top 25 in S&P Plus. And it doesn't get easier. Well, actually, it does get easier, but not easier to guarantee wins. After the Week 10 bye, they host Washington Week 11, travel to Indiana Week 12, host Illinois Week 13, and travel to Minnesota in Week 14. That is Wisconsin's schedule. And I view, let's see here, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Washington, Oregon, Ohio State, Iowa, Michigan, Alabama. I view 75%, 9 of their 12 games as against top 40 opponents, top 35 opponents. I view Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana as top 10 caliber opponents. This schedule sucks. Just going to be brutally honest about it. But that doesn't mean Wisconsin can't find a path to go bowling or even have a winning regular season record. It doesn't. I like what they brought in Billy Edwards Jr. I think protecting him with Riley Mahlman, Joe Brunner, and Jake Renfro compared to Maryland's O-line will help him better develop, evolve as a passer, continue to be used in the run threat. I have questions about Wisconsin at running back, but I also think that with the scheme they're running with Jeff Grimes, the new OC, and the O-line that they have, that may not matter much. By the way, all the O-line and QB players I mentioned, Edwards, Renfro, Brunner, and Mahlman, are on my all Big Ten teams. Larger than most all-conference teams, so it may seem like Wisconsin's overrepresented here, but they're not, trust me. Trechka Kahuna and Vinny Anthony II, I think, are great wide receivers. And pay attention to Jaden Ballard. He didn't make my all Big Ten list, but transfer from Ohio State, I think he's going to fit well with Wisconsin. And if he breaks out and showcases the talent at Wisconsin that many said he was going to showcase at Ohio State, whether it was 2023 or 2024, they will definitely go bowling, for sure, because I think their wide receiver room is already good. I like what they have at QB if he can stay healthy, and the O-line. This should be Luke Fickell's best offense by a mile at Wisconsin. And then we move on and look at the defense. I love what they did in the portal. Love it. They got Javier Suggs from LSU. He's going to be their best defensive lineman in a while, their biggest, most athletic. Mason Reiger and Corey Walker coming in from the portal at D-end is huge. Love their additions, especially Walker. They're on my all Big Ten team. Suggs is not, but him and Peterson are players to pay attention to at D-tackle. Christian Allegro at linebackers there, and watch out for Tackett Curtis, who just missed. And then Preston Zachman, Austin Brown, Nizier Forqueen, and Ricardo Hallman were Wisconsin DBs who made my all Big Ten teams. And of course, can't forget about their special teams, Nathaniel Vakos at kicker and Atticus Bertrams at punter. Vinny Anthony II as well at return specialist. This team can go 8-4. I think whether it's Alabama on the road, Michigan on the road, Ohio State at home, Indiana on the road, I don't think they'll beat Oregon. It's just after the Michigan, Iowa, and Ohio State games, and then you have to travel to Autzen. I don't think they'll win that game. But they played them competitively last year, so you never know if they catch Oregon on the wrong foot and Wisconsin's on their 2 feet and they're sturdy. This is going to be a quality team. I think this is a top 25, top 30 caliber football team. Best case scenario, 8-4. I think more realistically, 7-5 is the best outcome. But I think their floor is higher than most people think. They could go 3-9 and everything can fall apart. But more realistically, I think at the very worst, they'll go 5-7 again. They bring back 67% of their production, which is 12th, about Oklahoma levels of returning production. And they're top 40 in preseason S&P+. And a lot of that's because their poor recent history. The 2022, 2023, and 2024 Badgers were not all that good, but they still have elements of those prior teams, and Fickell's done a good job of upgrading the talent to where, yeah, they can break through this year depending on how everything plays out. I'm picking them to go 7-5, 5-4 in Big Ten play, and I'm picking them to play in a pretty good bowl game and potentially winning it. I love this team. And I think that it matches up well with what Fickell should have done from the start, which is adopt Wisconsin's physical identity, but just bring it to the 21st century instead of trying to change everything. More importantly, I love how this defense matches with Mike Tressel. I think they can finally run a 4-2-5 and not have to rely on a 3-3-5 or a 2-4-5. They actually have the personnel to go 4 down linemen now, and I think do it pretty well, especially if they're healthy. They upgraded at D-tackle, upgraded at defensive end. Linebacker is going to be a little bit of an upgrade, and I think DB they're going to upgrade as well, especially with Forqueen getting additional NCAA eligibility. I love this team. Can't express it. I think that their biggest problem is the schedule. Let's say they had Georgia Tech's schedule, like at Colorado, Gardner-Webb, Clemson, Temple, at Wake Forest, by Virginia Tech, at Duke, Syracuse, at NC State, by a Boston College, Pittsburgh at home in Georgia. I'd pick them to go 9-3, 10-2. I would. With Georgia Tech's schedule, they would do that. Now, unlike Georgia Tech, who I'm picking to beat one of Clemson or Georgia, Wisconsin would not do that. But They would do well with an ACC Big 12 schedule or even an easier Big 10 schedule. Think of if they had Michigan or Illinois' conference schedule, I'd be picking them to win 8 or 9 games. If they had Nebraska's schedule, I'd be picking them to win 8 games, just like I am picking Nebraska to win 8 regular season games. I think they're very similar to the Cornhuskers. Different strengths, different weaknesses, but when you factor in everything, take the average team, the average rank of the players and the position of the coaches, and build what you think is an average score for a team, I think Wisconsin and Nebraska score very similarly. I genuinely believe that. Let's move on and discuss some of my more specific predictions for Wisconsin's 2025 football season. Moving from mild, which is what I would consider a layup, an easy prediction to make, to a hellfire prediction, which is the boldest prediction I have for Wisconsin. It's a Scoville scale idea. So we have a mild, medium, hot, scorching, and hellfire prediction. My mild prediction is that Wisconsin will be a better quality team in 2025 compared to 2024. I think that's pretty simple looking at the returning production, looking at the staff that Fickell has, and the fact that Billy Edwards Jr. should be the best quarterback that Wisconsin has had under Fickell. Prediction number 2, my medium one. The Badgers, with a good offensive line and tough quarterback in Billy Edwards Jr., have healthy QB play. This is something that Wisconsin has not had since 2022 with Graham Mertz, and while Mertz was healthy, he was not fun to watch. Mordecai suffered injuries. And then, of course, last year, Tyler Van Dyke suffers a major injury. And Braden Locke was not fun to watch. So having a healthy, tough, big quarterback in Billy Edwards behind an offensive line that features Joe Brunner, Jake Renfro, Riley Mahlman, I think Wisconsin's still done a good job developing and recruiting on the O-line. And then you look at their wide receiver position, which I think is excellent, as we already talked about. I think that they'll have healthy QB play. Edwards won't get hit nearly as much as he did at Maryland with one of the worst O-lines in America. I think it's going to be a good situation. My hot prediction is that Luke Fickell survives the season, but in addition to that, because I think him surviving the season would just be a mild or medium level take for Wisconsin, he survives the season and enters the 2026 season not on the hot seat. Under pressure, I think certainly, but he won't be on one of the hottest seats in America entering 2026. My scorching prediction is that Mike Tressel fields a top 15 defense this season, looking at efficiency, little bit of points allowed per game, although with that schedule, they could probably be outside the top 25 there and field the top 15 defense. And I think that the vastly improved defensive line with the incoming transfers and the experience coming back in the backfield is going to help a lot. My boldest prediction for Wisconsin is that they earn 7 wins. They don't just go bowling, they have a winning record in the regular season. And also, in Big Ten Conference play specifically, they will beat every team rated outside of the top 15. So, your top 15 teams, unanimous, are Ohio State, Oregon, and Alabama. I think that Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan, maybe some of the others, those are some teams that could flirt with being rated inside the top 15 depending on how their season and how their roster performs. So this team will beat all the teams that they should beat and lose all the teams they should lose to. And despite Wisconsin's recent history over the past few seasons, that has not been commonplace. I think it'll be a good, fun, entertaining season, a lot of nail-biting games for Wisconsin Badger fans to look out for. And I'm excited to watch this team perform. And I think that they'll fight for Fickell. I think that Wisconsin is going to come out and in weeks 1 and 2 look a whole lot better than they did last season in weeks 1 and 2, or even the season before that. I think they're going to come out and you're going to see a team that is just kind of on the ball and that's very quick. Very bad snap there, but I don't think Wisconsin will have bad snaps or really bad moments this season outside of the big games where you have to give the coach grace, you have to give the staff and the players grace. It's no different from any other Big Ten West team right now. When they play against the big boys, I don't think any of them, as in the former Big Ten West schools, Wisconsin included, are quite yet ready to deal with a Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. You could probably deal with Michigan because Michigan is not what they were just 2 years ago. But even then and against USC and some of these more talented schools, if they just play competitively and show some type of progress over a long-term trend, they're improving, I think that should be good enough. And that just doesn't go for Wisconsin. It goes for the other Big Ten West schools as well. I'm very excited to watch this team. I think they're going to perform well, and I think they're going to win some games that Vegas and the odds makers and the analysts probably think they're almost, I don't know, clearly guaranteed to lose in. Thank you for watching College Football with Sam. Make sure that you've liked the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for the channel and team playlists and podcasts in the description, join the free Discord server where we talk college football 24/7, and have commented your thoughts down below. Check out the description for any ways you can support the channel monetarily. Everything else I've asked you to do is completely free, and your support means the world to me. We're trying to become the next big thing on college football YouTube. 6-figure subscribers, maybe 1 million one day. I think we can do that. And also check out any videos or playlists, anything in these columns right here, where there will be videos and playlists. Yeah, you get the point. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.